Today we're going to talk about one of the most controversial topics in the world of Bitcoin, the block size war. First, Bitcoin blocks are a fundamental part of the Bitcoin network. They are used to record transactions on the blockchain, which is a digital ledger that records all Bitcoin transactions. Each block contains a list of transactions, and once a block is added to the blockchain, the transactions it contains cannot be altered or deleted. The blocks are created by a process called mining, where powerful computers compete to solve complex mathematical puzzles. Say that 5 times fast. The first computer that solves the puzzle gets to add the block to the blockchain and is rewarded with a certain number of Bitcoin. This process ensures the security and integrity of the Bitcoin network. To explain it in a way that even a 5-year-old, or my dad, could understand, you can think of Bitcoin blocks like a Lego tower. Each block has a list of things that people want to buy, like toys or candy, or things to trade to another person, like a Pokemon card. And once a block is added to the tower, it can't be taken out or changed. And it's like a game where people race to find the right blocks to add to the tower and get a prize. Just like how miners race to solve puzzles to add blocks with its list of transactions to the blockchain and get Bitcoins. Okay, so you may be asking yourself, what exactly is the block size war and why is it so important? Well, to put it simply, the block size war is a debate that has been going on for years in the Bitcoin community about the best way to scale the network. You see, the more people that use Bitcoin, the more transactions are made on the network, and the more data that's needed to be processed. And that's where the problem comes in. Think of it like a congested road during rush hour. The more cars on the road, the slower it becomes for everyone to get to where they need to go. The same goes for the Bitcoin network. The more transactions that are made, the slower it becomes for those transactions to be processed. So how do we solve this problem? Enter the big blockers and small blockers. The big blockers argue that the solution is to increase the size of the blocks, which would allow for more transactions to be processed at once. It's like adding more lanes to a congested road. But the small blockers argue that increasing the block size would make the network too slow and more difficult for people to use. It's like adding more lanes to a road, but not enough exits. For years, both sides have been testing different solutions and trying to come to a consensus. But in the end, the small blocker solution won out. They believed that a better solution was to make the transactions smaller, so that more of them could fit on the same sized blocks. It's like carrying a smaller bag with only the essentials instead of a big suitcase that takes up more space. The big blockers were disappointed, but eventually they decided to create their own version of Bitcoin called Bitcoin Cash. It's like having a bigger suitcase that can carry more things but takes up more space. Also, far less people use the Bitcoin Cash network. And that's the story of the great Bitcoin block size war. Just like how people argue whether we should have bigger or smaller cars, people in the land of Bitcoin argued about whether we should have bigger or smaller blocks. In the end, it's all about finding the right balance and making sure that everyone can use the network in the most efficient way possible. Well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.